Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. So I partied with Mike. Today we're going to review this Cub Cadet 3X 26-inch 3-stage power snowblower. And let me tell you, this thing has been a game changer. Let me just tell you a real quick walk around why I like this compared to the old Poulon Pro 24-inch, just normal 2-stage snowblower that I had. First of all, you got this 3-stage power, okay? Breaks up the ice before it even sucks it into the impeller. There's a second stage where it chops it up before it goes in, chops it up to get it in, and then the third stage is to throw it out away from the snowblower, okay? So we got that 3-stage. Additionally, there's 26-inch of coverage versus the 24 inches that I had in my old system. A couple extra inches doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, when you're in the middle of a snowstorm and it's coming down, you want to get out of there fast. It could equal, you know, a pass or two up and down the driveway, right? And particularly depending on how long your driveway is, that may or may not be of a benefit to you. The other thing to consider about that is that, yeah, it's bringing more snow in, and so therefore more snow needs to go out. But I think the 3-stage and the extra power more than compensates for that. The other thing I'd like to point out is that we've got this 357cc power motor, which is, gosh, I want to say my other one was a 202 or something, so it's almost twice the power. And you can see that's a fairly sizable motor. It's just normal gasoline and oil, okay? Obviously I have my choke here, my prime, there's the key, and there's the choke. Okay, it's simple. I can pull it to start, or it does have this electric power. I will say I've never used the electric power because I haven't needed to. It pulls, you know, it starts on my first pull no matter what, okay? So that's really great. One thing I will say, I don't like the location of this, mainly because, you know, in the snow when I'm working, this area right here becomes full of snow and ice. And I kind of need this to scoop the snow and ice out of that area. But plus, this becomes covered with snow. So I would almost kind of like to see it mounted a little bit higher on the top here. But one thing to note, that some of the models, mine does not, but some of the models have a headlight that's mounted here instead. So since I don't have the extra LED bar, you know, it'd be fine to mount that up here instead. In fact, I'm thinking about drilling a couple of holes to kind of take care of that for me. So I might just do that and then plug those 2 holes down there with something. Just move it. That's just something to consider. That's just a preference. Okay, there's your belts. It comes apart similarly to most. You know, you pop those 2 bolts off on either side, and then the thing kind of separates. You know, separates. You know, the front half pulls apart from the back half, so you can access the belts in there. Right? Okay. The other thing I like about this is I do have the headlights up here. Okay, I didn't have those on my other model. They're nice to have. Definitely not necessary, especially out in my driveway where I've got plenty of lighting. But nonetheless, for those dark corners, it does help. And you know, they would illuminate a driveway pretty well for somebody who didn't already have lighting. Okay, so those are great. Check this out though, folks. Heated hand grips, okay? With this in the on position, these hand grips get nice and toasty, both of them. That's great. I really, really enjoy that. Okay, and I've never had my hands cold using this unit. One thing I do not like about it is this crank shoot handle. I just prefer levers. It sucks to have to crank it. My other unit, it had just another lever up here that operated the chute, both up and down, you know, height-wise, and also the turning. Okay, that was both located up here on my Pull-On Pro. Here, you know, I've got the height lever, you know, but unfortunately I have to deal with this weird handle to turn the chute from right to left. Not a huge deal, not a game changer or a game breaker for me, but nonetheless, you know, something I don't enjoy. Okay, here's something interesting about this particular one. See these little handles here on either side? Power steering. How cool is that? Basically what it means is that these are little brakes, okay? So while the wheels are engaged and I'm moving in any of these speeds, you can see it's got 2 reverse speeds and 6 forward gears. If it's in any of those gears, I can activate this, which essentially hits the brake on this wheel, okay? So this wheel would continue to spin forward or backwards, therefore, you know, turning it right or left, depending on if you're going forward or back. Okay, if I were going forward and I crank this, it would turn left. If I were going backwards and I crank this, it would turn right, okay? On this side, if I'm going backward and I hit the brake, it'll turn left. If I'm going forward and hit the brake, it'll turn right, okay? They're not full-on brakes. They just kind of seem to slow the wheel. So it seems kind of smooth, and it really does take some of the labor out of turning this. And since you're on an icy driveway, anyway, it's sort of, they do help. Those huge wheels, these really are big wheels. And I'm going to talk about these wheels versus the tracks in just a moment. But those are big wheels. They're fairly new. You can see I got a lot of tread. They're very grippy. And so when I hit the brakes, it's effective. It really helps maneuver it. One interesting thing to note is this particular model has these weird types of cables. I don't think they're going to last long, but nonetheless, they're really tight, really tight. So tight that they almost sound like a guitar string, and that's how tight they've got to be in order for this thing to function properly. If there's any play in those whatsoever, the gear's not going to engage. It's not going to throw snow. I mean, those have got to be tight. I know this because my neighbor across the street has the same unit essentially. It's with some slight differences. He's got the track system. He has the headlight I was referring to earlier. But I think that's pretty much the only difference. What we did notice with his is while his cables were loose, it didn't seem to be as responsive. Additionally, you know, he had some belt issues that he had to resolve. So for this particular unit, I would keep some extra belts on hand. I also would definitely keep the pins, the shear pins on hand, because with the kind of heavy snow and ice that we get up here, we're going to break those. That's just the nature of the game up here. Okay, let's talk about this track system. A lot of units. And it's very popular for people to go grab snowblowers with the tracks. And people often wonder, they ask me, why don't you have the tracks? You know, it would have been, you know, an inconsequential amount of money to trade to the track system. But I got the wheels on purpose, and here's why. Okay, first of all, it's a lot lighter, okay? Takes up less room in my garage, first of all. But the main thing is maneuverability, okay? Let me show you how easy it is. Okay, I'm holding a phone, right? So with one hand, I'm tilting this thing up, and I can turn it, rotate it, pull it, push it, you know. It doesn't matter. It's totally maneuverable. Try that with tracks. My neighbor, his ran out of gas halfway down the street while he was doing the driveway, or excuse me, a sidewalk. And that's where it sat until he went to the store and got gas. He couldn't pull the thing back up into his driveway. It was just immobile with the track system. If I had both hands free, I could show you I could easily turn this thing left and right and maneuver it all around. So it's not only easier to maneuver in my garage, but it's also easier to maneuver while we're blowing snow. I've got a relatively flat driveway, so I don't feel like I need the extra traction to go up a hill, if they're even useful in that scenario. I'm not entirely convinced that they're even helpful there. It just, to me, it seems like they're extra weight, extra maintenance, extra things to break, and I like to keep it simple. And I like to be able to move this thing around when I need to. I have a lot of things in my garage, things that maneuver around and da-da-da. So I want this to be able to move from place to place pretty easily. The wheels, definitely the way to go for me. All right, I hope you guys like this review. Smash that like button, and give us a subscribe. Pass this out to your friends. Let them see. I hope you like this video. That's my review of the Cub Cadet. Thanks. Have a good day.